I'm Megan Baker, this is InfluenceHER. Joining us for this episode is Heidi Knoblauch. She's the owner of Plumb Oyster Bar in downtown Troy, as well as many other things that you've been doing in your 30 plus years. How did you go from a PhD in history to owning an oyster bar?
Yeah, absolutely. I get that question a lot because it's kind of an odd transition. What I do tell people, though, is that being an entrepreneur is a lot more like being a scholar than you would think, because as an entrepreneur, you have to have a fierce, commitment to your own vision. You're really creating something new. And so it wasn't as crazy of a jump as you would think. I will say that when I left my academic position, though, I was really scared. I was super nervous, but I always knew that I wanted to have a business, and I wanted that business to have a physical space where people came and enjoyed it. So I knew I didn't want an e-commerce thing, and so when I was in downtown Troy, restaurants were what were revitalizing the streets and making everything super walkable. So I just really wanted to be a part of that and kind of took the plunge.
What drew you to Troy specifically?
Yeah, so I went to Emma Willard, and my grandfather worked for Cluett Peabody for his whole career. So my mom grew up in Troy, and I had been living in New York before that, and Troy definitely looks like a little pocket neighborhood in New York, so we felt super at home and just really liked the community a lot.
Restaurants and bars really took a hit during the pandemic. What was it like? What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was really, so I was also working at the bank during the pandemic, so I kind of had this interesting two-sided perspective, both from doing the PPPs for all small businesses and then also having my own small business that I really needed to pivot a lot. It was just kind of it was a bit of a whirlwind, and every day was something new. Either with the PPP, a rule would change, or, the state would change a rule or something like that. And we just tried to come up with the most inventive stuff that we could. So we did the COVID-19 cocktail club. So every week we would make a cocktail for people and they would come pick it up. Or we did a COVID-19 Go Shuck Yourself, which was where we sent people home with a instructional video, a shucking knife, and a towel, and a dozen oysters. And so, we just really tried to be inventive and do as much as we could while things were really changing.
You have achieved so much in such a short amount of time. What advice can you offer to young, aspiring entrepreneurs like yourself?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just don't expect to kind of get it right the first time, right? So I think that and this goes for if you're an entrepreneur within an organization or if you're making your own business, right? It's just the thing that I see that makes people succeed is just them trying and trying and trying over and over and over again. So when I was in academia, I remember being so nervous that someone was going to write the book on clinical medical photographs in the United States between 1880 and 1922, and not wanting to share or talk about my research with anyone. No one has written that book so far. And so, besides my dissertation, obviously. And so what I learned is that it's not really people who are talking about things, but it's people who are executing. Mm-hmm. So as entrepreneurs, I think people should just talk more about their idea. So the mistake that I see all the time is people invest a lot of time or money or something into an idea that people don't want to buy. Mm-hmm. And so I would just encourage anybody to, if they have an idea, talk to as many people about it as possible, because it's likely that even if you're concerned someone's going to take your idea, that they're probably not going to execute on it.
That's really good advice. Very sound advice, too. You have talked very openly about your personal journey with mental illness. What message do you have for others who are really struggling internally, and it has had such a significant impact during this pandemic as well and coming out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the big thing, and this is the common thing that I say, is that depression and other mood disorders are very prevalent. It's a common cold of mental illness. So
again, it's so taboo.
Absolutely. And so I think that if people can just have more confidence that the experience that they're going through is not unique, which is why I talk about it a lot, actually. If they can feel that it's not unique, it make it more normalized to go to a doctor and kind of get help. That's really that's the message, and that's why I talk about it, is because I think so many people are kind of scared to raise their hand and say, like, something's really going on here. Something tangible and real is going on here. And so I think that the more that you can talk about it, the more likely it is that people will go and get help.
And the fact that you can reach someone that way too. I know that I shared a blog post about the anxiety that I've had in the past, and I still do. And it was remarkable the amount of people that have reached out that they didn't realize it because they see somebody on the outside not knowing that you're suffering on the inside. So it was interesting, just the people that thanked me, I'm sure, as well as you, for being able to share that personal story. So going back to the Collar City, how do you like to personally enjoy Troy?
Yeah, so there are, right now I think that there are like 5 coffee shops within a half-mile radius or something like that. So I love just having coffee in downtown Troy. My favorite spots are Superior Merchandise and Jacob Alejandro. And so I love just going and getting a different coffee at each one of those places and walking around downtown. And it's really, that I think is one of the best parts of Troy.
I'm Megan Baker. This is Baker's Dozen, and we are back with Heidi Knoblauch to answer some questions for us. Last book you read?
Corporate Real Estate Asset Management Strategy and Implementation.
That's a mouthful. Where did you grow up?
All over upstate New York.
Favorite strange food combination?
I do yogurt and almond butter with some frozen berries.
That actually sounds pretty good. I might have to try that. What talent would you like to develop?
Meditation.
Pepsi or Coke drinker?
I don't drink soda, but if I had to choose, Coke.
Favorite cocktail?
I also don't drink alcohol, but because of that, my wife does non-alcoholic cocktails at the bar, and so she has this Verjus. Yes. Well, not alcohol substitutes, but she has this Verjus spritz that's really great.
That sounds really neat. What trait do you admire most?
Grit and perseverance.
Favorite smell?
Just a fireplace, like a warm fire.
Next item on your bucket list?
To join a corporate board.
Oceans or mountains?
Mountains all the way.
What was your first concert?
Third Eye Blind.
I remember that band. So this question came from our previous guest. If you could do one thing to make the community better, what would it be?
Man. I think what I would do is encourage people that they don't need to go to college or get a professional degree to feel satisfied in their work.
That's some great advice. You get to ask the next question, so what is it?
Oh man, I think that, and I can pick anything and they have to answer it? Oh, that's fantastic. What's their favorite coffee shop?
Favorite coffee shop, love it. All right, Heidi, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.